Good afternoon, everyone, and I just want to get started by saying all of you yuppies in the comments section are talking about my room is dirty. My room isn't dirty, I just don't make my bed. And if Gary Vaynerchuk doesn't make his bed, then why should I? Because I'm just going to end up going to the gym anyways, and then coming back and crawling into the bed, so if I make it, it's just going to end up looking like this anyways whenever I wake up the next morning. Unless there are any 5'3" big booty Latinas in the comments section I don't know about, y'all need to stop tugging on my stuff, alright? Just chill out on that. But today I want to talk about Poatan absolutely crashing out on Twitter today, and also RDR versus Whittaker potentially being in the works for UFC Fight Night upcoming. 205 does have a situation because of the fact that Alex Pereira is so unhappy, and he clearly expressed his displeasure online, no matter what he said afterwards. And I want to talk about how Robert Whittaker is going to get chinned again. The first time that I saw these tweets, which we'll go over here in a second, I was thinking to myself, man, what did Dana White do to make Alex Pereira that mad? Because I'd never seen him trip like this before. And if you've been following him on social media, it's normally just him with Plino doing the Shama dance, and he doesn't ever really trip like this. So this is very out of character for him. I want to talk about what happened. So I'll front load this conversation by just saying that Alex Pereira is Ali Abdelaziz on social media. Ali Abdelaziz is every single non-English speaking fighter on social media. He manages all of their accounts. He speaks on their behalf. This morning, Ali Abdelaziz, who is Alex Pereira's manager, tweeted, "I always answered the UFC's calls, but if they want to play with me, we can do that. I've never spoken poorly of the UFC, but with what I've just heard, I'm disheartened. I've already had thoughts of not fighting anymore, and after what was just relayed to me, this may be the start." So these are crazy words. Alex Pereira is talking about maybe retiring. The UFC and him had a conversation, and he doesn't like what he had heard from them. It's sad this is the only way that fighters can really petition for changes in their career or with the way that the company is dealing with them, because there's no lady at the UFC who's going to answer all of their gripes and listen to their complaints about stuff. I immediately interpreted this as the UFC not planning to give Alex Pereira another title rematch. They are likely going to end up giving Carlos Ulberg a chance if this is not what's going to happen for Alex Pereira. They probably offered Pereira Rakic and he just started tripping really hard. It's kind of over whenever fighters start threatening to not fight anymore, like the UFC cares at all. They let McGregor and Ngannou walk, and Dana White is just facing off Terence Crawford and Canelo somewhere whenever he should be working out what's going on with his division's champions like Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. I don't know what they're doing over there, man. I'm going to start making more content about this because it needs to be brought to light how they're selling us, bro. I have spoken about this before, but if Alex Pereira does lose to Magomed Ankalaev twice, then he's unable to be celebrated the way that we can talk about him now, having only 2 losses in the UFC. He's threatening to make what's really a smart decision for his career, and what he ought to do anyways, as a kickboxing legend with 2 belts in 2 different divisions in this promotion, which is the best promotion in the world. So, I mean, it's not like he has really anything that he left on the table or more to prove to us. We all know what he's made of, and he can just ride off into the sunset now. And that is if he actually is considering retirement, and if this is something that is on his brain, which makes sense, granted that he is at the point of his career that he is in combat, because he's done a lot in fighting in general, through kickboxing, even a little bit of boxing and MMA. He's done it all. Like, this guy is fine. Like, his legacy is great. He's one of the greatest combat athletes ever. I really don't think that retirement is a bad call. We've seen how Anderson Silva and Jose Aldo are 2 Brazilian legends who tarnished their records by taking losses that they didn't have to right before leaving the UFC. Anderson Silva was able to get some of his hype back just by winning some boxing matches. He did lose to Jake Paul, and that's kind of the end of things for him. That hurts his legacy, dude. I wish that these fighters did understand that. It's like, there's a point where you should probably just stop. And Alex Pereira is a global phenomenon with the Shama stuff, and it's not like he couldn't just translate his hype into something else so he stays relevant. He could be like George Foreman of MMA. All he has to do is just come out with Alex Poatan Pereira electric nose trimmers, and he's set for life. He can fund some dumb business venture like that ends up working out for him, like the George Foreman grill, and he could just be set for life. If that's really how he wants to go about things, I don't think it's a bad call. It's going to be English translated because he only speaks Portuguese. Again, it makes it a miracle that he was able to form a perfect English paragraph to chew Dana White's ass out. But we're going to watch him talking about being hacked, and tell me if you guys believe any of this.
Bom, pessoal, recebi aqui monte de mensagem aqui da galera falando aqui que viu mensagem no meu Twitter e, eu nem sabia que tinha sido hackeado, porque faz tempo que eu não posto nada, vocês veem aí, mas foi hackeado e eu vou estar resolvendo aqui e, eu nem sei o que está acontecendo aí. Tem uma relação muito boa com a UFC sempre e, as pessoas gostam de, sei lá, de ver o mal. Então é isso, chama.
Shama. Bro was not hacked, and he used the offset method to get the fake off. Do you remember whenever he was caught cheating on Cardi B using Twitter? So he tweeted, "Balls in my face, I'm gay y'all, and I lick ass cheeks," in order to be able to be like, "Yo, I got hacked, bro. This was not me." I think it was like some DMs or something that got out. And he was like, "No, these weren't my private messages, bro. I got hacked. Look, I got hacked. Bro, this wasn't me." This is the same thing that Alex Pereira did. These tweets were a call for renegotiations, and the UFC got back to Alex Pereira. They clearly reached some sort of formal agreement. He was prompted to state that the post that he made prior to him saying that it was fake was actually fake whenever it was real, and that his account was hacked whenever it wasn't. This hacker had an interest in just causing beef with Pereira and the UFC, and that was his only express interest in hacking Poatan's account, instead of doing what literally all other hackers do and posting a crypto link to scam millions of followers. So that's kind of funny that the hacker would get the opportunity to seize an account with millions of followers and try not to make any money with it. Lies used to be believable, man, I swear. I would hate more than anything for Alex Pereira to retire from this sport on a loss streak. One loss is just a single loss. 2 losses, honestly, that's just back-to-back losses. 3 losses is a streak. If you lost 3 times in a row, that does not look good. Alex, I think, can be done now. His last loss wasn't very embarrassing, all things considered. I have some of the stats there from the last fight for you to look at. All things considered, I really don't think this was that embarrassing. What left does he really have to prove now that we all know that Magomed Ankalaev's wrestling is enough to defuse Alex Pereira, so John Jones and Tom Aspinall, who are experienced grapplers at the higher weight classes, would both be murders? Do you really want to push Alex Pereira to see that happen? And he's going to be close to 40 by the time that fight can actually be made and take place. This dude is a dad. He can enjoy fatherhood, and he can bring up the next era of kickboxers to carry on his legacy in MMA. They have Tahara MMA in Connecticut. They could go back to Brazil. They could do anything they wanted, man. Getting to do this while still being loved by the fans, like cornering these athletes and working to bring up new contenders, is one of the highest honors in the sport, because not a lot of fighters get to do it. We have Uriah Faber, who has been able to secure a spot coaching after having a successful career. Khabib was able to do it. The list is probably longer, but nobody jumps out at me off the top of my head, because normally these guys are just getting folded until they have CTE and they think that the government is out to murder their entire families. Huge day for Ali Abdelaziz, because we're about to talk about something next that he had his hand in. I think that he mentioned injuries after the fight with Magomed Ankalaev the first time. If he's healed from those and he genuinely believes that he can get this done, try it again. But if he's going to come out and do the same thing, that will only detract from the work that he's already put in, and he shouldn't do it. So that's my take. I'm not sure if you guys agree with it, but that's just actually what I think. The reason why any of these issues are even issues at all is because Dana White and the UFC actually have a serious problem. They can't stop pissing off the fan base by not making the fights that we want to see and focusing on things that aren't MMA. Dana is launching the TKO Boxing League. He already has Power Slap, which they've been promoting for I don't even know how long, that lame-ass sport. And he works with the WWE too. And that was a huge business merger that they had signed a couple of years ago. It's like, dude, give us Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, bro. What are you doing? They could have been made that super fight the entire time this WWE stuff was going on. And now with the Boxing League and Dana White facing off Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford, and he's working to promote that sport whenever there's so much work to be done in MMA, it's an embarrassment, dude. Maybe the way to grow the sport is to focus on making the biggest and best fights that the organization's champions and fans both want, and to not spend time in the boxing world just because you like that sport. Most of us like boxing. If you like MMA, you also probably like boxing a little bit to some degree. Contain it. Like, you need to quell this. You are the MMA man. Like, you need to represent the sport in everything that you do. Your entire life's mission is to build up this sport that we all love and want to see get more popularity, and you're letting us all down. If it really was the organization's plan to have Alex Pereira fight in non-title matches, do they really think that we'd just be down for that? It feels like the UFC is losing touch with its fan base, and things have been way too much about what they want, instead of catering to the people who buy the pay-per-views. People pay pay-per-view. The UFC is arrogant, but also not wrong for assuming that we will stay tuned every Saturday, no matter what the quality of the card is. If you remember the fight nights from last year in July 2024, I'm sorry. Moment of silence for both of us, because this actually proved that I'm a fiend for UFC and I will watch any fight, because they were just giving us any fight through late June and July. After International Fight Week, we were cooked for like 3 months and I watched every single card. There should be more checks and balances on the UFC as far as the power that they possess over the athletes and the general might that they carry at the negotiations table. They're the conglomerate, so they have the last word in things, but there should be a union for fighters or something, because angry tweets are literally the only way that they can defend themselves, is by starting some stuff online with Dana and the rest of the organization. And then whenever the organization tries to do damage control with these athletes who are actually valuable, and they end up agreeing to terms like, okay, maybe we will pay you this amount of money that you're asking for because we need you to fight here. Or, yeah, we will give you this fight that you're asking for because we need you to fight here. It takes a Brazilian man to take his phone, give it to his English-speaking manager, and have him write some angry shit and hit send in order for him to get shown respect, whenever he should just be respected for the work that he's done. In the eyes of the fans, he's respected. This dude carried 2024. He lost his belt at the end of it all. Let him challenge again if he wants to. And let him have some pull. Maybe not the whole fight being on Alex Pereira's terms versus Ankalaev's, but let him have some say on how he wants this to take place. He's one of the participating parties, and he did a lot of work for the UFC, and we need to throw him a bone for all the times that he's bailed out this promotion whenever they were in a bind. So that's my opinion on this Alex Pereira situation. I really hope that they can get this resolved for him and for all of the other fighters who have to negotiate this way with the promotion, because the way that they do business isn't very good. Actual work needs to be done to make this process of hosting different people's careers in MMA more equitable for them as fighters. And this is something that they need to really dedicate time to, as opposed to just dealing with civil suits in passing while doing other stuff. Like, they really need to focus on this, because it's an actual issue. If he wasn't hacked, and this was actually like a cry for help on his part, talking about the way that things are and the way that he feels let down by them, then he should have other outlets other than Twitter to express this. And if the UFC doesn't leave him with any other resources, then that's a bad look for the organization. So now we talk about RDR versus Robert Whittaker. Ali Abdelaziz had been working overtime today. After he posted the Alex Pereira stuff, he said, RDR just got to fight. Guess who? And everyone was like, maybe it's Robert Whittaker. And it seems like it does make a lot of sense for it to be Robert Whittaker. It's unconfirmed. I'm not sure what was taking place on the Whittaker side and his camp to make people think, oh yeah, it's him. Probably just based off of the fact that he can fight. And as far as the rankings go, it makes sense. RDR has deserved Glazers this whole time. That Malikan guy from One who made Rayner quit, he's unlike anyone in the UFC. And I don't think that it's possible for anyone who isn't Dricus du Plessis to put that type of beating on RDR. Malikan was super sauced up, and he used dope to make 205 with the same body that he fought at with heavyweight. And I was wrong to be critical of Rayner for quitting in this fight. Like, it wasn't an uphill battle and he didn't give everything that he had. I literally watched Rayner the Ritter throw the kitchen sink at Malikan, use all of his abilities, and it still wasn't enough. Malikan ate all of his best shots and took him into the later rounds. And then Rayner the Ritter does actually quit, though. He's either playing guard or they're clinching, and he just sits down and retires. And I was like, oh, and I put so much weight on that, but dude, it's the opponent. Rayner the Ritter was literally just protecting his brain, which I don't even think that was a bad call, because he was not going to win that fight. And I could guarantee you right now that a fighter like Robert Whittaker with chin and durability issues would not have been able to take the same punishment as Malikan was able to put on RDR. So I need to stop talking about Rayner the Ritter like he just quits and has a bad gas tank and chin. Another thing to mention here is that I just mentioned this fight took place at 205. Rayner the Ritter is a light heavyweight, and he is going to be significantly larger than Robert Whittaker if they fight. He is a real threat, and he's likely a top 3 grappler in this weight class from the standpoint of ability and execution. It's probably going to go Hamzat at number 1 for grappling, Dricus du Plessis at number 2, and then number 3 is Rayner the Ritter. Based off of what we have so far and the hype, I'm definitely looking at this through recency bias lenses, and I'm inflating Rayner the Ritter's skill to a high degree right now. Maybe. But I do actually think that he's good after, again, reviewing the One footage and seeing his recent performances in the UFC. He looks like he knows what he's doing. I think it's pretty safe to say that Whittaker is probably done at this point as far as getting tested against young lions who want the belt. Against goof troops like Aliskarov and Costa, he can be dominant, that's kind of like a dominant, because in the Costa fight he almost got knocked out cold. But RDR is from a championship pedigree, like Whittaker. It's the same thing, and I can vividly see Reiner de Ridder out-muscling Rob in a clinch to get the fight to the ground with like judo or something and subbing him down there. You take his back. He could probably do a lot of things to Robert Whittaker that we wouldn't expect him to be able to. I believe in Reiner de Ridder now, and I want him to showcase more of his skills on these actual middleweights as a proper 205er. He looks like a light heavyweight whenever he fights. Robert Whittaker could get in there with some shorter man Diddy boxing. Shorter man Diddy boxing. And he could win this, bro. But I don't see him surviving on the ground or in the clinch. I think that Reiner de Ridder has a lot of tools to get this fight grappling no matter where it is. They can grapple standing. Reiner de Ridder has shown that he can have complete control over those sequences that take place while standing and grappling in the clinch on the cage. We haven't even seen him display any type of trip offense against a high-level grappler. He didn't even get the chance to do it against Bo Nickel. Robert Whittaker has a hard time with these physical beasts. I mean, he's fighting them all the time, and he was able to subdue Romero, but Israel Adesanya came up next and he knocked him out. Hamza Chimaev is a very physical fighter. Paulo Costa had him on the ropes because he's very physical. Pretty much all 185ers are pretty physical fighters at the top of the division. We have some string beans like outside of the rankings in the top 15, but most of these guys are pretty sturdy. RDR though is different because he's massive, and I think that this is going to be where Whittaker is going to experience extreme trouble in this fight, is because he's not going to be able to freely manipulate RDR in the same way that he would be able to, like maybe even a Darren Till, who isn't super physical and was still able to drop Robert Whittaker. RDR doesn't have the same fast twitch as a Darren Till or a Yoel Romero or a Paulo Costa. It's the pacing and it's the aggression. Over time, he can break Whittaker, and that's what I'm going to ultimately favor to happen in this fight as an early prediction. Hopefully it can get announced. Hopefully Alex Pereira wasn't hacked and the UFC isn't still horrible at doing business with their fighters, and they're actually improving with their relationships and the way they're maintaining them with the people on their roster. But if you guys did make it to this point in the video, I do appreciate it greatly. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you fellas in the next one.